Okay. Chapter 14, market failure. The market can fail. And when the market fails, it's because the market forces fail to produce goods, the quantities that consumers demanded for, they fail to produce them. And even if they try to produce them and it is not affordable for consumers, they failed also. So market failure occurs when the market forces fail to provide the quantity demanded of goods and at a price at which is not affordable for customers. That is market failure. So the market failed us. We are unable to get what we needed. And even in the course of getting them, they are not affordable. That's market failure. Okay. So let's go down. Okay. Now go to the nature. The nature of market failure. Market failure occurs when market forces fail to produce the products that consumers demand in the right quantities and at the lowest possible cost. In other words, market failure arises when markets are inefficient. So if prices are not affordable, it means that the cost of production is increasing for firms. That's why they cannot sell at a lower price. Because if they can sell at lower price, it means that prices are affordable. But their inability to sell at a lower price means they are not efficient. Their inability to produce the goods demanded in the right quantities means they are not efficient. So market failure occurs as a result of inefficiency of the market forces. Is it clear? Okay. So there are numbers of indicators of market failure, including shortages, surpluses, high prices, poor quality, and lack of innovation. So if any of these things mentioned occur or happens, it means there's a market failure. So one of these is, we said, shortages. Shortages occur when the demand is more than the supply. Is that not a shortage? If demand is more than supply, that is a shortage. Shortage is what? A market failure. Surplus is also a market failure. If supply is more than demand, it is you are wasting resources. Waste of resources leads to market failure. It's inefficiency. You are supposed to provide the right quantities needed by consumers. Too much, too little, it's a market failure. Do you get what I'm saying here? Yes. Too much provided, too little provided are both market failure. High prices. Prices becomes unaffordable for consumers. It's a market failure. Poor quality. Customers' expectations are not okay. Sorry. Yeah. So we talked about poor quality. And the last one we need to talk about is lack of innovation. So when you continue to give your customers those things that they are used to, they'll get tired one day. Repackage, create new products, create new needs for customers. That's why you have research and development, so that you will not lose your customers. So if businesses are unable to create new products based on the demand, if they are not flexible to create new products based on the demand for customers, then there's a market failure. I think that is clear. Yes. Is it clear, please? Yes. So we'll go down. Failure to take into account all costs and benefits. The consumption and production of some products may affect people who are not involved in their consumption or production directly. Those indirectly affected are often referred to as third parties. In such cases, the total benefits and total cost of society, called social benefits and social costs, are greater than the benefits and costs to the consumers and producers, known as private benefits and private costs. For example, the social cost of the firm producing chemicals will include costs not only to the firm, but also to people living by. So market failure is not only when the market forces fail to supply or to produce goods that are demanded by customers, or sell goods at a price that is not affordable for customers. There are other reasons too that could cause market failure. So it means that what I'm saying is that when the social cost of production exceeds the social benefit of production, it's a market failure. This implies that the external cost, the external benefit exceeds the external cost. The external cost exceeds the external benefit, sorry. So the cost to the third party is more than the cost to the businesses or to the firms that took the action. So market failure could be as a result of the action or inaction of firms on the production of goods and services. So if in the cost of a firm producing, like what they said, a chemical, so the cost on chemical is not going to only affect the firms that are producing chemicals, it's also going to affect those that are living within those areas or that area. So that means there's a cost to the third party. So because there's a cost to the third party, it's a market failure. Do you understand what I'm saying here? So market failure also means that your social benefit, your social cost of production exceeds the social benefit of production, of consumption. Do we get it?
Yes.
So costs to the third party are called external costs. So the cost to those that are not involved in the production setting is called external cost. The cost to those that are involved is the private cost. So if your external cost exceeds your private cost, it's a market failure. Do you get it? It means that those that are not involved are paying more than you that you are even taking the action. Is it clear?
Yes.
Just like noise pollution. So you are making noise, but it's affecting like 3 other people that are in here. So that is a market failure because your noise is not only affecting you, it's affecting us. And we are not part of those that are making the noise. You are the only one making the noise, but it's affecting us. So pollution is a market failure. Because pollution will not only affect the firms that are emitting the carbon, it's also going to affect those within the environment. Is it clear?
Yes.
All right. So among the private costs to the firm will be the cost of buying raw materials, fuel, and wages. External costs imposed on those living nearby may include noise pollution, air pollution, and water pollution. If the decision to produce chemicals is based only on the private cost to the firm, there will be overproduction. So they said if the decision to produce chemicals is based only on the private cost to the firm, there will be overproduction. So if all the decisions have to be based on what we do, we'll produce more because we don't think about others that are affected. We are emitting carbon because the more we emit the carbon, the more output we create, the more output we have. Yes or no? So if the decision about we emitting carbon is solely on us, we will do more. Right? To get the point here. If firms are not checkmates, if nobody check what they do, they will emit more carbon because they will be able to produce more goods. That is the point. So figure 1.14.1 shows that if only the private costs to the firm are taken into account, then the supply would be curve SS, where the full cost of society is higher at curve SX. The difference between the two is accounted for by the external cost. The allocatively efficient output is QS, but the market output is Q. Now put it this way. There's allocative efficiency. If the quantity is at QS, that means the quantity supply. For firms, if firms are the only ones that are going to, that the cost is going to be on, they will produce at S. Do you understand? They said, then the supply would be curve SS. That's if only the private costs of the firm are taken into account, then the supply will be at curve SS. That means rightward shift. Yes. SS, that's SS. If the cost of production is going to be private cost. So that means everything about them is just about them. That they don't have any other problem. Everything is on them. Nobody is checking what they do. They're only going to be the ones to incur the cost. They will produce at S. Do you get it?
Yes.
But whereas the full cost to society is higher at curve SX. At this point, because nobody is with them, nobody is checking what they do, the cost of the society will be high because they will pollute as much as possible air they are able to produce, in as much as production is continuing. Do we get it?
Yes.
So the difference between these two is QX. So the only time, they said, the difference between the two is accounted by the external cost. The allocatively efficient output is QS, but the market output is Q. Firms are producing at Q because they are incurring more, they are emitting more carbon. Normally, they are not supposed to reach that level. They are supposed to reach QX. They are supposed to stop at QX because that is allocative efficiency, where both the cost of production equals to the cost of consumption. Where the cost of production equals what? The cost of consumption. Yes. But here, when you are producing at Q and consumers are at X, QX, at SX, then there's a problem. The cost of producers will continue to rise. So to reduce the cost of producers, you have to fall back to QX. So stop emitting carbon, stop increasing production, because this is overproduction. Remember we said allocative efficiency means that demand for goods are provided based on the quantities needed. Yes. That is allocative efficiency. And where is allocative efficiency? It is at QX. Yes. Because we said allocative efficiency is at SX, then it will be QX. So for firms to reach QX, they have to reduce their production. Yes. Leftward. Yes. So the quantity supplied to the market must reduce to reach allocative efficiency. Is it clear? Yes. So this is overproduction. So to reduce overproduction, you have to reduce production. Clear? Yes. Okay. So demand based just on the private benefit to those consuming the product will lead to underconsumption and hence underproduction if the total benefit to society is greater. So if it's for demand, if the private benefit of consuming the product is, they said demand based just on private benefits to those consuming the product will lead to underconsumption. If the demand for products, if the demand of your consumption, if you have to consume everything based on your private, based on you alone, you might not consume more because you don't have so much with you. Firms at that point in time would not want to supply more because it would have meant that the price of goods are less. So they won't supply more for you too, so that they can also increase the price later on. They said, for example, among the benefits students may receive by undertaking the university degree, because there are a greater number of career choices, higher future earnings, lifelong interest, and lifelong friends. The social benefits include not only these private benefits, but also the benefits to other people, which is external, who will be able to enjoy a higher quantity and quality of output, as graduates are usually highly productive workers. So, for consumption, the benefit of consumption does not only comes to you because you are educated. Yes, because you are educated, there's private benefit, but it is more than that. Because I am educated, yes, I earn my salary, I earn everything, but it doesn't stop there. I educate you, I teach you, I give you what I can give, I give quality. So it means that other people will be able to benefit because of your own quality education. So because you are educated, you are able to teach others. Because you are educated, you are a doctor, you are able to treat others. So there is what we call external benefits. Do you get what we are talking about here? So there's private benefit and external benefit. Private benefit is the benefit to that individual who took the action. External benefit is the benefit to the third party, those that are not involved in that action, but they are enjoying the action. Same goes to external cost. You are not part of those that made the action, but it becomes a problem for you, like cigarettes. Some people are smoking beside you or around you. It makes you to have cough. Then you have to go to the hospital. Yes. You didn't smoke, but people around you smoke. So this is an external cost. So as we have external costs, we have external benefits. Then we have private benefit and private external benefits. So that is what it means here. So here they said, the demand for degree courses based on private benefit is called DD. Why the total benefit of the economy is shown as called DX. So here, the maximum benefit should be at QS. Why? Because at D, it is private, but to the third party, it is DX. And it will continue So when you are educated, when you learn from me, you teach others, you are able to do a lot of things for yourself, for your family, for your society.
Yes.
So it will continue to increase at QX. Do you get the point here?
Yes, yes, yes.
So DD is private benefits as SS is private cost. Do you get it?
Yes.
Okay. So they'll, okay. For the graph, based on this graph, there's underproduction. But let's just forget about underproduction. Let's focus on DD and DX. DD represents private benefit because this is the benefit to that individual that took the action. As soon as that individual is able, to transmit or to transmit or transform the knowledge or the benefit he or she has to the society, it becomes external benefit. That's at DX. Do you understand? So right now, now they said the number of degree courses, okay, if left to market forces is Q. For the market forces, why will it be at Q? It will be at Q because they don't want demand to be beneficial except when the prices are increasing. So, do you get the point I'm making here? This graph is underproduction. Why? Because supply is less. Supply is less. Supply is supposed to be at QX, but it is at Q. Because firms do not want to produce when they are not going to be, when it's going to be beneficial to them. And consumers only want things that are beneficial at a lower price.
Mm.
Do you get it?
Yes, yes. So
look at it here. They said extra benefits. Who will be able to enjoy a higher quantity? Okay, there we talked about it. If left to market forces, that's the last paragraph there. If the last sentence, if left to the market forces, is Q, whereas the number which would cause the maximum benefit to the society is QX. The maximum benefit, that's the extra benefit, should be at QX. But firms will not produce at QX because producing at QX will be at a cost to them. They can only produce they won't even produce it because it means that things are at par, at equilibrium for them. Firms only want to produce more when the prices are high. Supply is basically about price. If price is increasing, firms will produce more. But you wouldn't see consumers buying goods and services more when the price is rising. Yes or no? Yes. So if it is shifting rightward there, it means that prices are falling. So firms will respond by underproducing. Do we get it or not?
Yes.
For any rightward shift, it would have meant that consumers, for demand now, it would have meant that consumers are enjoying it. This is not good for producers. If demand is increasing, it means prices are falling. At that point in time, firms will produce less so that they can able to change the price again. Is it clear now?
So if demand is high,
it means price is falling.
That's not good for them. It's not good for the business.
Yeah, because they won't be making more profits. They could make more revenue, but not profits. So whenever there's a gap between the total effects on society and the effect on those directly consuming and producing the product, market will fail to allocate resources efficiently because there's a gap between the society and those that are directly involved in consuming and producing the products. The market will fail because there's a gap. If there's a gap, that means there's allocative inefficiency. There must not be a gap. There mustn't be a gap. So for gap, if there's any gap, the presence of gap means that there's market failure. Do you understand? So the level of output which will cause maximum benefit to the society is our social optimum level or social optimum level of output. That is when consumption consumption is what is demanded for. Here, we are able to give welfare of the customers, welfare of the people is put into consideration. There's allocative efficiency. We demanded for 100, we got 100. That is social optimum output. Do you get it?
Yes.
So if the social cost exceeds the social benefit, it implies that too many resources are being devoted to the production of the product. Society will benefit from reducing its output. In contrast, if the benefit society would gain from producing more of the products is greater than the cost of society of producing more output, then more resources would be devoted to its production. Look at what they said. They said, if the social cost exceeds the social benefits, it implies that too many resources are being devoted to the production of the product. Cost exceeds benefits. It means you are wasting so much resources, you are putting so much resources in that product. That is why the cost is more than the benefits. You cannot reach social optimum output that way. Society would benefit from reducing its output. In contrast, if the benefit society would gain from producing more of the product is greater than the cost to the society for producing more output. So if the benefit of the society is more than the cost of producing the output, then the society will gain more because the private cost is less than the social benefits. Do you get it? The private cost is less than the social benefits. So the firms will be able to devote more resources in production. Do you get it?
Yes.
Because it won't be possible for consumers to benefit more if prices are high. So if prices are less, it's because firms' private cost is also less. If the private costs for firms are high, if the private costs for firms are high, they won't be able to sell at a lower price. Do we get it?
Yes.
Okay. A case where the social cost in most countries exceeds the social benefit is the use of road space by private cars. When people are thinking of making a trip in their car, they take into account the private costs and benefits. That is, the cost and benefits are to themselves. If the benefit received by them by undertaking the journey exceeds the cost, for example, the cost of petrol and wear and tear on the vehicle, they will make the journey. What they do not consider is the external costs caused by them, including air pollution, noise pollution, congestion, and accidents. A number of governments, including Singapore and the UK, have introduced road pricing schemes. This seeks to charge the full cost of their journeys. Different amounts are charged according to when and where people drive. Someone driving along a deserted country road is likely to cost lower external costs than someone driving into a city center at peak time. Individuals will take decisions about their action if they feel that the private benefit exceeds the private cost. If you want to take an action, you think about the advantages and the disadvantages, isn't it?
Yes.
So if you check the advantages that they are much more than your disadvantages, you take it, yes or no? The only thing you don't put into consideration is who does it affect? It's not your business. Do you get what I'm saying here? Yes. So that is what they are saying, that firms will not, individuals will not put into consideration the effects of their action with third party. They only care about the action they are taking on their own, the advantages, the private cost, the private benefit. So if the private cost exceeds their private benefit, they won't take that action. Or if the private benefit exceeds their private cost, they will take the action, irrespective of whatever it is to the third person. So if you want to travel now, the only thing you think about is the conditions of your car. Is it good to travel with? The cost of petrol and the rest. You won't put into consideration the pollution because it's not your business. It's behind you. Pollution comes behind you. Yes or no? Yes. So you don't put into consideration the cost of pollution to the third party. Yes. That is the point they are making about private costs. So decisions will be taken based on your own consideration of private cost and private benefits. So what can government do? Because this is a market failure, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So governments, they made the example of Singapore and UK. So now what they do is this. If you are traveling, the cost of traveling with your private car is going to be the same cost of traveling with the public car, public bus. Do you get the point here?
Yes.
Government will charge you for traveling that distance. Despite the fact that it is still your car, you'll be paying the same amount.
Nah.
Exists the social benefit is the use of road, which I'm just explaining now.
Yes.
If you drive your private car, you drove the car because your private cost exceeds your private benefit exceeds your private cost.
Yes.
You wouldn't drive your car if you think that you're going to incur more cost than benefits, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So as a result of that, you don't think about the third party. So because you don't think about the third person, government wants to correct this market failure. So
Yes.
how will government correct this market failure? Government will charge you. Government will make you pay fees, charges. Don't worry. Government will let you pay fees and charges that will be equivalent to those that are taking public buses. Because if everybody takes public buses, the number of private cars in the road will be less. Pollution would reduce. So you going with your private car or going with a public transportation or transport, you're just still going to pay the same. So then you now say, oh, the cost of the external cost is the same as my private cost. Your external cost is the same as your private cost.
Yes.
Then you think about the stress. I have to go through the public transport. Do you understand? You know, when the external cost is cost to the third party. If your private cost is exceeding the external cost, it is not good for you. It means you are incurring more cost. You're going to drive your car. You're going to fuel your car. You're still going to pay the charges government is charging you. Why can't you just go with the public transport?
Yes.
So this is what the government of UK and Singapore are doing. They have to correct market failure. Market failure must not occur. Do you understand? But there's no way we want to do it, there will be market failure. And even if there's no market failure, there will be government failure. Government failure occurs when government decision to correct market failure brings about more problems. Government is trying to stop cigarettes by increasing the taxes on cigarettes. But people continue to buy cigarettes. That's government failure.
Yes.
Government increases the taxes on education. As a result, people stop going to school. And government is doing that, so maybe government is increasing taxes on education to be able to, to have finance or fund for health. So government is taking decision to increase taxes on education to be able to finance investment on health sector. But that has led to people not going to school. So government is failing. That's government failure. Government decision about an action is leading to another problem in the other sector. So there's no way we want to balance things up. That's why we have the mixed economy. The mixed economy is the solution. So what the private sector cannot provide, the public sector will provide. What the public sector cannot provide, the private sector will provide. Because if the private sector is not providing it and we can't find it, it is a market failure. If the public sector is not providing it and we can't find it, it's also what? A market failure. So to correct market failure, we need mixed economy.
Yes, sir.
Is it clear? I think we stop here. So we'll continue with information failure in the next class.